like 1.5 minutes. 3 minutes. They be real late. That's why they need.
Can look you in the eye. You're just like an angel. Skin makes me cry. You float like a feather in a beautiful world. I wish I was special. You're so fucking special. But I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't care if it hurts.
We're doing 1 minute, right? 2 minutes.
I wanna have control. I want a perfect body.
If we do
Want a
this, start,
perfect soul.
you know, at 7.
I want you to notice when I'm not around. You're so fucking special. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. And she is running out the door. She's running, she runs, she runs, she runs. Whatever makes you happy. Whatever.
April marks the start of Autism Acceptance Month. But at the Head Nurse in Charge Network, we celebrate neurodiversity all year round. Want to see how? So what do Siren by Night and the Mocha-Fi Merge on Tuffy Wonder have in common? We are both awesome mothers. This one just happens to be mine. So in honor of my autistic daughter who loves unicorns, I started a little thing called Unicorns and Baka, a blog for parents of special needs children who have their own special needs. And that blog gave birth to my web show and podcast, Unicorn Straight No Chaser, which is mental health with a twist where we celebrate all things neurodivergent and we talk about sex. But I'm not the only person on the network celebrating neurodiversity. New podcast alert, the Awesome Day Pod is created and being hosted by Tuffy Wonder, who is given a platform to actually autistic adults and autistic representation for the Black community that we so sorely need. So, this Autism Awareness Month, support the Head Nurse in Charge Network and let's move on from awareness to acceptance. Hey y'all, hey. Welcome to Unicorn Straight No Chaser, where you come for the shenanigans, but you stay for the debauchery. As usual, I have my co-host with me, To my right. Look at me. I got it right today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Tokyo T, here to bring you inside Pandora's box full of kinks and chaos. So stay tuned for Inside the Box.
And of course, our resident Soft Dom Daddy.
What's going on, everyone? It's your Soft Dom Daddy here. The Carty Experience. How y'all ladies doing today?
And of course, I am Siren by night, your queen of extra, your sultan of shenanigans, your diva of debauchery, and the official HBIC. So we are going to get started with our mental health segment. And of course, y'all want to stick around for the Inside the Box segment, because if you thought last week was crazy and last week was absolutely insane and crazy, I mean, we had people jerking off mice, old people sucking people off. It was
a lot.
Absolute chaos, okay? And Carty was the main character.
Damn.
So you want to stick around for that, or if for some reason you leave, you better come back. So let's do our housekeeping. Just the best. She is on vacation. She had the nerve to think that she could go on vacation this week. So our Soft Dom Daddy is running the stream today.
It's not my fault, Jess. Just let you know that we didn't start late because of me. I'm doing my job. Okay, those intros were fucking flush. Okay, I'm doing pretty good so far.
Jess will beat you. Okay.
Yeah, she will.
So while we are doing housekeeping, I do want to say thank you to our co-executive producer, the bald man, King Kurt Live, because he did come in and do some aesthetic tightening up for us today. And of course, the main executive producer, myself, Siren by night, always. If you have a podcast and you don't know how to get started, if you have a podcast and you do not gain invisibility, or if you want to do a podcast and you don't know how to get started, we can help you with that. So make sure you hit us up, slide in our DMs or something about business. I don't want any dick pics. All right. And we can help you with those things if you are interested in engaging in shenanigans like we do every week, or you have a topic that you're passionate about that you would like to bring to the platform. All right. Also, we are starving creatives. Please, oh please, if you feel like you are loving the content that we are bringing to you today, give us some stars. All right. If you enjoyed the stories that we gave you last week, if you would like us to keep bringing you debauchery, just give us a, you
really gotta pay for these stories. You don't get these stories made up. They are 100% real shit.
First of all, let's be honest. We should have had 1.4 million stars last week because those stories were amazing. All right. And I'm not even
laugh at my pain.
They were absolutely amazing. So again, like I said, please support us. Hey Sal. Yes, backdoor dickhead. It's always good to see you.
How's my dog? My dog is fine and has been not sexually aroused or pleasured in any way. Okay, guys?
Who's asking about the dog?
Groovy.
Oh, what page are you on, Groovy? Because I can't see. I can't see. Jess, I'm doing good, girl. The nerve of you living life. How dare you? So, as we stated in the video that played when you first came into the room, April marks the start of Autism Awareness Month. And for you that did not know, hopefully now you do know, that all of this started from my daughter. And it's in honor of my daughter, not the sex part. Not that part. But
that part.
That is how she got here, though. So, you know.
Yeah, okay.
And,
all right, then.
But all of this is to honor her. Aww. Look at her.
So cute.
So innocent. We celebrate neurodiversity here. Yeah, don't be fooled. We celebrate neurodiversity here all year round. The mental health segments, of course, like I said, that is in honor of her. I want to erase stigmas. I want to shed light on things that we don't discuss in the African American community. So every week this month, the mental health segment will have some tie in with autism. You know, I got to catch y'all before I clean y'all. So I got to loop y'all in with the sex stuff so that I can teach you something.
There you go.
I'm like a nasty pastor or something, you know?
Horrible comparison. Don't do that. No, she is not like that in any way, shape, or form, people.
I'm teaching you something that feeds your soul, but I do it in a not so nice way. No.
Nah. I'm gonna teach you, Laura, and then I'm gonna touch you.
Eat of my flesh? No. Let me lay hands on you. No. Okay.
Thank you, Ty.
We appreciate you, Ty. Ty just gave us some stars. We appreciate that.
Oh no! Look at threats. Don't let my button slip.
We warned them.
So today we are going to be discussing Black people and autism. The title, I'm sure y'all noticed, is Black People Can't Be Autistic. Now, please don't think that I'm stupid enough to actually think that, obviously. It's clickbait. But it's also something that I've heard of people say over the years. So I didn't just pull it out of the sky. I've actually heard people say ignorant, stupid things like that. By now, everyone should know what autism is or have some idea of what it is. It's not something that we really talk about too much amongst Black people, but I will give you the whole clinical definition of autism really quick. Autism is a neurodevelopmental condition of variable severity with lifelong effects that can be recognized from early childhood, chiefly characterized by difficulties with social interaction and communication, and by restricted or repetitive patterns of thought or behavior. Okay. And also, just so you know, I do have another person on the platform who works with special needs children. Tokyo, what do you primarily do with the children?
So I am a RBT, registered behavioral tech. So I basically implement ABA therapy. I follow their IEP in regards to IEP is an individual education plan. So if they have some type of behavioral needs or some type of educational needs, I would pretty much implement those in a school setting. So I tend to I prefer like autistic children and Down syndrome children and developmentally delayed, or like some of them have like cerebral palsy, stuff like that. I prefer them, which is a weird thing to say, to just a behavioral need child. It's a difference. It's a big difference to me.
Yeah.
But I follow their legal document into what they need to be helped with. Support them. Teach them other babies.
I love how you being so proper today.
I'm trying to, because I gotta explain it right. It's gonna sound crazy.
So I wanted to discuss this because, like I said, to erase the stigma, and I've heard a lot of ignorant things. This is probably my third month doing the third Autism Awareness Month while doing the show. So we've done a number of different things. And I just want to circle back around to this. I didn't specifically do this. Oh, Lord. Let me mute y'all for a second.
It's Philly. It happens all day, every day.
Listen, we live in Philly. This happens.
Yeah, I'm on a main street, and it's like so annoying. But I wanted to circle back around to it because, like I said, I've heard a lot of disparaging things, and like people spread myths around, and it contributes to people not getting the proper diagnosis for their children because they're listening to their dumbass uncle or they stupid ass granny that's saying black people don't get autism. And I'm going to admit that before my daughter was diagnosed as autistic, I didn't know anyone who was autistic at all, or at least I wasn't aware that I knew anyone that was autistic at all. So, you know, I was one of those people that was like, well, maybe black people don't get diagnosed with it at the same rate. Like maybe it's more of a condition that only white children get. You know, I was ignorant back then. My daughter is about to be 13. So I have learned a whole lot of things along the way. But I was one of those people. Like when you guys were coming up, did you know a lot of children who were autistic that were black?
Wasn't a lot, but you know, it's been growing exponentially lately over the last 20 years. So I don't know. Hopefully you have the fill us in on. Maybe you know what it is.
You already know that I do.
There you go. Educate us.
Do y'all have anybody in your family that's autistic?
Me, no, but I do have a lot of friends and their family members have autism. So
I'm just curious.
I'm in the world. So
no idea.
You said you have no idea.
I have no idea. I don't be around family all like that. I do, like on my husband's side, his nephew has special needs. But other than that, I don't even remember growing up seeing like look, let me tell y'all a little bit about me again. Okay. My childhood is a blur, okay? So I don't recall ever seeing a special needs kid growing up. Like I don't recall. not special needs. Like in high school, I remember other, special needs kids, but not like autistic. Like, oh, he's autistic, and ever even heard the word. So no, I don't think so.
Okay, I was asking you those questions for a reason, just because I want to kind of set the precedence. There is still a number of black people that are like, I don't know anyone who has, that's autistic, have autism. And let me just get the language together. I don't say have autism. I don't say that. I say that the person is autistic. My daughter is autistic. I don't say that she has autism, because I don't consider it to be a disease. I consider it to be an intrinsic part of who she is, just the same way that she's black. My daughter is black. She doesn't have blackness, right? is who she is. So you'll never hear me use that language. I don't like to use that language. Other people, they can do it. That's their choice. I just happen not to believe in using person first language. I don't believe in using it, but we'll get into that another day. So autism actually affects 1 in 500 births a year, and research is showing that African Americans and Latino children are diagnosed at older ages than white children, typically up to 3 years later, according to some studies. So that is a drastic difference, and that is going to be very impactful on the child as far as how they progress if they're getting diagnosed 3 years later than another child. So somebody getting diagnosed at 3 versus someone getting diagnosed at 6. So that gives them far less opportunity for early intervention and treatment. And the CDC reports that autism rate of children is 13.2 kids per every 1,000 among Black 8-year-olds in comparison to nearly 20% of white 8-year-olds. And part of that is because autism has a white male privilege problem. They see autism as a white little boy disorder. When you
really,
the face of autism, if you look at the face of autism, what do you say? It's a little white boy.
They need to change that.
They do need to change that. But part of that involves, which we will get into on another episode, the fact that autism presents differently in girls than it does in boys. And so girls and women are often overlooked. And so they do look at it as a male disease. And because we get diagnosed so much later, they look at it as something that really happens to white children versus us. And so what is the reason why we're getting diagnosed so much later than white children? And there's a plethora of studies done on this, but there's a lot of stuff that there's no studies on that are one of the actual reasons why we get diagnosed later.
Just because, white.
Because white what?
Just
if
it's white, they get, first dibs in line.
Like I would say,
they can have the same symptoms. They can have the same symptoms or be on the same spectrum. And oh yeah, I'm gonna catch him, this white boy at 3, but this black little girl at 8. Like why? What's the disparity for those laps, even though they're being looked at the same condition? Like,
I would ask Tokyo, right? Like, how many kids do you typically have in your classroom?
Right now, I'm not in a special needs school, so I'm just basing a typical classroom, and I have a certain child that has behavior issues. So it's I've been in a special needs classroom, so it's definitely different. A special needs classroom where everybody has a special need is probably between about 5 to 7, something like that, 5 to 8 maybe. That might be the class size. Is your next question how many of them are white?
Yeah.
I want to say, honestly, it might be like 1. I am in a black neighborhood. Yeah, I don't have, there is like white children in the school, there, but
you were in a black neighborhood?
Yeah, I think it depends on where you're from in the neighborhoods, because my school was in a black neighborhood, so most of them, we had a couple white kids in our school. So
okay.
And this particular school, in my class, it might be like, is it a white kid in my class? Ain't no white kid in my class at all. There's like, I don't have any white kids in my class.
Now, I will say, when my kids were younger and they went to school in Chestnut Hill, and anybody that's not in Philadelphia, Chestnut Hill is a predominantly white area. So when my kids were in school in Chestnut Hill, they were the minority in the school. They were not the norm. The school that they went to, it was comprised of typical and atypical children. And that's what we say instead of saying normal and not normal kids. So we had typical children and atypical children in the school, but my black children were the minority in that neighborhood.
So do you think that is the issue? Do you think it's more the fact that maybe they did more studies in the white neighborhoods instead of the black neighborhoods? Or do you think it's strictly like, oh, we just care more about white people's numbers than black people numbers? You know what I mean? Like if all their studies was done in white neighborhoods, of course the number is gonna be like only white kids have it. You know what I mean?
Right,
that should be the case. Because like I said, I didn't have almost no white children in my special needs school. So in that school, that numbers would be high, black or, people of color. So I think it depends on whoever did the fucking study, and if they just was like, let's just do white kids. You know what I'm saying?
Well, definitely.
I can see how that worked out.
Definitely no. They definitely did more studies on white children than they did on black children, because first of all, I'm jumping ahead, but first of all, it continues, like they continue to look at autism as a tragic childhood condition, right? And they go on to say how it devastates the families and it's burden on communities. So, there is still a very negative connotation that goes along with autism and the diagnosis itself. Okay, that's number one. People don't say, oh, my child is autistic. Okay, we just going to figure it out. Like my son is dyslexic, so there's not quite as much stigma with Chase being diagnosed as dyslexic as it is with my daughter being diagnosed with being autistic. People be like, oh, he's dyslexic, all right, we just going, he just got to learn differently. But it's the same thing. It's actually the same thing. My child is autistic. They have to learn differently. You know what I'm saying? If anything, for me, the dyslexia is harder.
Right. So dyslexia is on the spectrum now?
No, dyslexia is not on the spectrum. My son is not on the spectrum. What I was trying to say is when a parent gets that type of diagnosis, it's not the end of the world. They don't go through that grieving process that they go through when their child gets their autistic diagnosis. But it's one in and of the same. Don't get me wrong. The severity of it varies from person to person because it is a spectrum. Oh, hey, B-Dow. It is a spectrum, but it's still, they just learn differently, and so you have to figure out how they learn. It just requires more of you as a parent. That's what it is. And some people,
autism, same thing.
Right.
And that's, you know what's crazy though? I didn't have a lot of experience with autistic children and stuff like that growing up. I actually got into it because my son wasn't learning on a proper level, so he had a delay in gross motor, fine motor, and speech. Mm-hmm. So that's how I got into it, because now everybody around me was like, oh, he'll talk when he's ready, he'll do this when he's ready. So that's what I heard, like, all right, let me give it a little more time. Then he got like 3, and I was like, all right, now. He ain't saying much of nothing. He had a couple phrases, but that was it, and that was only if he wanted to. I thought he was gonna be autistic. I thought that was, I asked, you know, we started getting therapists come out, and that kind of opened my eyes to like, yo, it's certain things I have to do and certain things that I must have wasn't doing, you know, saying identifying colors when I say stuff, more educational words instead of like, give me the ball, it's like, give me the green ball, give me the red ball, throw, you know, like certain little things that I wasn't aware of with my first and only child, you know. So that's how kind of I got into it, because I got very interested in it. I got interested in how the mind works and things like that. So that's how I got into being involved in special needs and psychology and all those type of things. So it is a stigma. I was nervous about it. Mm-hmm. I was nervous about it being autism because I had no point of reference. I didn't know what that meant or what I was supposed to do or anything, but I was willing, you know, and I wanted to know. I'm not the type of person to be like, oh, I don't want to know, I'll just let it. Like, no, I can't. I need to know. I need to know what's going on. Right. And being around children who are autistic, they are hilarious. Like, I genuinely like them. Like, I low-key like them better than typical kids a lot. Like, they're hilarious. And it's so funny because they think so different, and it's so fast. It's fascinating. It's like, wow, I get where you was going with that. Like, it makes sense. Like, I didn't think like that. And I've dealt with, you know, autistic adults. Now I can kind of pick them out once they start talking to me. So I tend to know exactly who's has you know, a special need, and I like them. I like them a lot. Like, I really do. But I do, even in the school that I'm in now, the parents are the worst. I'm sorry, but the parents are very much stressful. They don't want to get their children help. They don't want them to be labeled as having a special need. And I feel like it's so devastating because it helps. I would understand if it's like, oh, you're labeling him, then you just go feed him to the wolves, you know? But that label holds a lot of weight. You know what I mean?
We are definitely going to get there. Akila said, I think with our brown babies, they were quick to say they are weird or bad as hell, and the ignorance and neglectful tendencies of the parents did not or don't help. That is 100% true. According to the CDC, 1 in 36 8-year-olds were diagnosed with autism, and that says of 2020, right? This is an increase from 1 in 44, which was 2 years earlier. And the rate rose faster amongst children of color. And this is an increase because it's a rush to catch up, right? Because they were lagging behind before, and so now it's a rush to catch up. And so now it's seeming that they're being diagnosed at a faster rate than white children. This is just recently in the recent years. So why are the children being diagnosed later than the white children, right? The first reason would be financial resources. So a lack of financial resources can limit access to information, education, and quality healthcare. There's a lot of people that struggle with healthcare, and if you don't have the right access to healthcare, then it is going to be really, really hard for you to get your child diagnosed. A lot of people don't know what a developmental pediatrician is. A lot of people don't know that you can take your child to a neurologist to get diagnosed. They don't know that there's different centers. They don't know about Elwin. They don't know about Childing. They don't know about all these different programs. And unless you are going to a really good pediatrician, they're not going to know about these things. That's the first line of defense, right? Is the pediatrician. When we take our kids for their well visits and all of that stuff, that's when they're supposed to be checking their milestones and letting you know, hey, excuse me, it might be a problem going here, but we're gonna keep our eye on it. So if you don't have good medical insurance and things of that nature, then yes, that is the first way that you are going to be lagging behind the white children. And then some of these pediatricians and some of these clinics, some of those health centers and stuff, they don't give a fuck about us. They really don't care about Black children at all. So you not meeting your milestones, they think we're stupid anyway. And I'm not saying all white people. If it don't apply, let it fly. But we understand that when it comes to the medical community and Black people, which is the second reason, the patient-provider relationship between Black people, people of color, and doctors, it is not a good relationship. They disproportionately think that we have a higher pain tolerance. They expect us to progress at a lower level than white children anyway. Because that's how they look at us.
Dumbest thing ever.
Right. So, okay, your kid not talking? All right. He not walking? All right.
That's normal, right? Give it like 2-3 more years, he'll catch up. Like, no, maybe he's nonverbal. You looking at that, or
Right. But they should be checking off the milestones anyway. The parent, unfortunately, this is where the doctor is supposed to be stepping in, because not all parents want to know, not parents are going to know, and not all parents care or I don't want to say intelligent. They're not intelligent, but some people have their own developmental delays, is what I'm going to say. There's a lot of parents out there that have their own delays. They may be autistic themselves and they don't know it. So it could be a lot going on. I encounter a lot of people that I'm like, it's going to be a hard way to go for your baby. You know what I mean? Because you have some comprehension skills. So that's where you need your doctor to really step in and say, this is what needs to be done. But there's a number of reasons why that doesn't happen. So we need more education for the parents so that if the provider is not doing their job, the parent can say, listen, I don't give a fuck what you talking about. This is what we need to do. And they can push the issue. The third thing would be educational resources, as I stated before. And in these public schools that are in the hood, that are underfunded, there's not going to be a lot of educational resources. In those health centers, there's not going to be a lot of educational resources within certain neighborhoods where the poverty level is really, really high.
Yeah.
You're not going to have people having those discussions about, this is what was going on with my kid, and this is what I did to get my kid to where they needed to be, and these are the programs that you can reach out to, or call your CBH on the back of your insurance card and talk to them, and maybe they can direct you somewhere. They're not going to have that. But let's talk about the shit that is just relevant towards Black people itself, as to why we don't get our children the help that we need. First thing, religion. Religion is supposed to...
Little snakes. Religious snake people. Throw the snakes on them. Cure them. Just throw the snakes on them.
Religion is supposed to bring us together, right? You're supposed to go and fellowship and all of that good thing. But religion has been so detrimental to us when it comes to certain things. And one of those things are mental health and neurological disorders. Because Black people think you can pray everything away. And you cannot pray some things away. Okay? You can't do it. if you believe in God, and there's nothing wrong with that, I don't have a problem with that. My thing is that then you should also believe that God helped create science so that you could use science to heal yourself and heal your child and help your child progress and let the child live a better life. Take.
I don't understand. How did that disconnect? I don't understand. If God made everything, God made the scientists. They made the doctor. He made the doctors. Why would you just sit there and be like, you know what? He ain't make the devil. God made the devil too. So I just don't understand. I don't understand.
They'd be like, oh, it's a spirit. Them spirits is in them.
Yep.
You got to pray them. They want to give your baby their medication.
Get the oils.
Your baby don't need their medication. You know why you going through this? Because it's a curse. Because you don't go to church. Like, these are like, I have heard these things in reference to different things, to bipolar disorder, to schizophrenia. Seemingly educated people. I have heard say some of the most ignorant shit I've ever heard when it comes to these things. What spirit is it that is afflicting your child to make them lose their verbal skills? Like, I want to know what it is, and how do you cast it out? And why is it afflicting so many children? Because you didn't pay your tithes?
It's brainwashing. I'm sorry. That's brainwashing. Give me money or your child won't have this forever. Like, get out of here. I don't.
Oh, man, you gotta watch out for them religious fanatics, man.
Then let's move on to the other thing, which is the stigma. And the stigma is a huge part of it, right? Ain't nothing wrong with my baby. They trying to say something is wrong with my baby. And there's nothing wrong with my baby. My baby is fine. My baby don't have anything. Because, like I said, they've already set autism up to be treated in a negative light, right? So if you say that my child is autistic, then you're saying there's something wrong with my child.
Right.
Or that it's a reflection of me as a parent and what I've done. And I want to say that the men are worse than women when it comes to this. In my experience, the fathers are worse when it comes to this, because ain't nothing wrong with my boy. My boy is smart. Nobody's saying your child is not smart. They could be nonverbal and be one of the most intelligent people in the world, but they don't have the means to communicate that. And they will have no means to communicate with the outside world if you don't get them some type of help. If I was to listen to everyone that told me that my daughter was not autistic, including professionals, psychologists, then my daughter would be much further behind than she was, because Savannah was mostly nonverbal until she turned 4. So if you ramble off on data, she don't look autistic, she not autistic, you just need to do this, you just need to do that, you just need to go to church, you just need to spend more time with her, you just need to get more educational tools, you need to do this, that, or the other thing. And people, there's a huge amount of people that do not want their children to have an IEP, which Tokyo mentioned earlier, which is an individualized education plan. There's a huge amount of people that do not want their kids to have that. But an individualized education plan does not mean that your child is stupid or something is wrong with them. It means that the educational plan is set up to address the specific way that your child learns and the specific areas that your child needs help in. If anything, you should want your child to have that. It's sad because technically all children need to have an individualized education plan, because we all don't learn the same way. We all learn differently. There's no one way across the board for every child to learn, because every child is different. And I had somebody say that in front of me before, and they was just like, they want to get my baby. They think ignorance is bliss. It's not bliss for the child.
Not bliss. I was about to say bliss for the child.
You had an IEP? Do you care to share what your IEP was for, Sal? I had somebody ignorant in front of me saying like they were having a conversation with another resident because I work in property management, and they were like, yeah, they want to give my baby an IEP and ain't nothing wrong with my kid. And they, and I said, not to be in your conversation. I said, but I explained what an IEP really was for. And I was like, do you know that you can be gifted and have an IEP? You can be above average intelligence and have an IEP. So it's no reflection upon your intelligence. And they like, oh, maybe you need an IEP. Okay. Like, I believe it just says that I have a tough time with math or something like that. I would have to go look at it again. So Sal, there's something called dyslexia. I mean, there's something as far as dyslexia where you see the words backwards and stuff. There's something like that that pertains to math specifically. I forget what it's called, but it's something like that. So maybe
I got that shit. I'm horrible at math. I don't know how I made it through college. I was just taking that shit over and over again. Like it's just not clicking for me.
Yeah,
I always struggled with math through school.
Me too. Once I got to high school, no, I'm sorry, that's a lie. Like once I got to like 8th grade, I started struggling with math. But there is something specific to that. I would have to look up the name of it, but yeah, that is a thing, and you don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but it is a very real thing. And that's the other problem too. There's so many different disorders that people don't know about, and their kids are not getting help for these things. I was very, very I'm very blessed that my daughter was diagnosed formally by the time she was 2. By the time she was 12 to 18 months, we were already looking into it. She had a wonderful doctor. My kids go to Andorra Pediatrics. If you're not from Philly, Andorra, it is a predominantly white part of the city. And I purposely put my children in that practice because I wanted them to have the best care. Not because I suspected she was autistic, but because I was tired of these bootleg ass doctors. Somebody got a D in class, and they
barely made it through medical school.
Yeah, and they out here helping people allegedly. So I was by the time she was 2, she had a formal diagnosis, and so I'm very, very, very lucky for that. She started getting services early. Chase started getting services early because he definitely had a speech delay. Who is they looking for?
Not me. I ain't do nothing this week. I'm clean.
So my kids, it's a lot. It's a lot of doctors. It's a lot of appointments. It's a whole lot. But I'm so happy that I did it because I don't know what's going on. They looking for Jonathan Majors or something. I don't know what's going on. Please, if you would like me to get out of the hood adjacent neighborhood I'm in, give us some stars. White people all around me, and the cop car is still going up and down the damn street. So what's the point of these
Peter? Who the hell is Peter? What I do to Peter?
Who's Peter?
I don't know.
Peter Cottontail?
Peter. He might be like Peter. It might be Peter. I don't know why you think I'm abusing my dog. I'm thinking he mean Peter.
So I'm gonna choke your ass.
I'm gonna bring Bryson in here so you can see he's perfectly fine. He's just an asshole. That's all it is.
Lord, my point being is that I just want Black people to stop saying dumb stuff. Possible. Like we hurt ourselves more than we help ourselves. I want us to stop saying, like, I have my own family members telling me that my daughter is not autistic because she didn't present the way my other family member who is autistic presents. They're 2 different people. It's a spectrum. It is,
and it gets wider every year. There's something new. I mean, more research gets done, and things get like compartmentalized, get broken down to subgroups and subgroups. Well, I mean, at least.
Well, here's
this is being funded.
The thing about it is there have always been autistic people. It's nothing new. Like people think it's new. It's not new. There just wasn't a name for it. They just put grandma in the back of the house and like You know, she always been weird.
They were saying Mozart was autistic. You know, how far back, I don't know how far back autism really goes as far as the first record account, but it's been around for forever. So
there's a number of people that there's a lot of undiagnosed people running around. Let's be clear on that. There's a lot of people who are autistic running around thinking they are not autistic, and they are clearly autistic. So, and a lot of parents don't find out that they're autistic until their kids get diagnosed. And then they're like, ho, ho, ho. It's true. Here.
It's a couple people I watch on YouTube. Their child got diagnosed, and all the symptoms that the child was presenting, they presented, and that's how they realized either they had ADHD or they had a form of autism or some stuff like that. I do want to touch on the IEP real fast.
Go ahead, please.
I think that the idea of the IEP is kind of ridiculous for people to. I think it's not ridiculous. They don't know what it is. It's a legal document. Like, it's actually a godsend. They're forced to take care of your child a certain type of way. So I think that if they look at it like that, like, not like, oh, he is something wrong with him, and this shows like a document saying this is what's wrong with him. It's more of like a legal obligation to take care of this child a certain type of way. And I think they should look at it like that. Like, they're special. They need special attention. You know, they look at it from a positive view instead of like, oh my God, all the bad things. No, this is literally like telling you this is what they need to progress in life. Like, that's it. And the school or wherever they go has to follow it. If they don't, you can sue them and everything. Like, so think of it like, if they don't follow this, you get some money. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can,
that'll get black people's attention. Ooh,
you
money,
know
what?
If you change your perspective on it, it's definitely a different approach. Like, don't just keep looking at it like, oh my God, this is saying he does this. It's showing the things that his functional behavior and things that he do, and these are the goals we're trying to meet. If they can't meet those goals, you would have to speak up for it, or an advocate or something to say, no, this is what I'm saying, and this is what he's presenting. This is what we're going to do. Like, it's actually a really good thing for children. And I actually feel like, in my opinion, I feel like, and I mean, no shade to the parents who don't want to get it, but I feel like the parents that's saying, no, I don't want to get it, something should happen to them. Like, they should get some type of legal repercussion or something, because it's neglect. At this point, you're saying, no, I don't want the IEP. No, I don't want him evaluated. And we're just going to put him in a regular school. That's not going to work. He's never going to learn. He's never going to progress. And he's always going to be in the same. He's not going to get the specialized instruction that he needs. And I don't think that that's fair. It's not fair. Like, you sit in this classroom, and if you've been in the classroom with typical children and you have one atypical child, it's a little odd because you just don't pay them no mind. You know what I mean? You let them STEM, you let them run around the class, you let them play with stuff, and then you don't pay no mind. They're getting neglected. And I don't think that that's fair. It's not fair. And I just don't like that the parents can just be like, yeah, no. I don't think that's fair. It should be something that happens. I don't know. The social workers have to get involved probably. But the social workers need to do more sometimes. I know they have a lot on their plate, but social workers should really push. They're supposed to be the advocates for the children and the family. So if the family is being ridiculous and ignorant and saying no, you know what I mean? I think they should go and do something extra. I don't know what it is they can do. Call the state. I don't fucking know. Call the police. I don't know. But
willful neglectance.
Yeah. Right. If you don't be proud of valuation.
It's probably because of that nigga.
It's not really a special. It doesn't have to be an education class. Somebody could come to the class and just sit individualized instruction with just you. If you are autistic, you just need a different environment and a different way of learning. Like, so he ain't gonna be able to focus with Timmy running around. You know what I mean? He's gonna look at Timmy running around, and he's gonna look at Timmy running around instead of looking at the paper and doing the math or whatever. So it's a lot of different things that happens, but I do think the IEP is very beneficial to the family, to the child, of course, and it takes pressure off of the parent. I don't think they realize that. It takes a little bit of pressure off when you know what they're doing and you can kind of do it at home, and it makes it stuff easier. They tell you how to deal with the behavioral issues, what they're doing. Like I find it odd. They don't understand how beneficial it is to have IEP.
Because they've been told that it makes something wrong with them. Sal, can you put Sal's other comment back up about being in the classroom?
Oh yeah.
It said IEPs actually do help because before I had it, they put me in a regular classroom. So you were in a typical classroom and that wasn't working for me. So they put me in a smaller classroom with 2 teachers. So I guess I was in special education. Yes, you were.
And on your face. And nothing wrong with that.
There's
nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with it. A lot of the special needs kids that be in typical classrooms, they cannot focus. It's so much stuff, it's so much overstimulation that it's almost like it's impossible. And it's not that they don't know it. They might know everything on that paperwork, but they are so preoccupied with everything around.
Timmy.
But here's the thing, like, being in a classroom with 30 goddamn kids, that's not what anybody thing. That would be disruptive for anyone. So I, both my kids have IEPs, and it works in 2 different ways. For Savannah, she is in an autistic support class, right? All schools don't have autistic support classes, so she had to go to a school, and she goes to a wonderful, wonderful school in Mania. She has autism support. It's only like maybe 7 kids in her class, probably less than that. And we actually just put into her IEP that she needs a one-on-one, but that's like for emotional support and everything. She's very, it's funny because she's typical in a lot of ways, but then socially, emotionally, she is very, below her age level in those ways. And so sometimes she needs emotional support, especially because she's about to be 13, that cycle done kicked in, and now her hormones is all like this.
Oh my god.
Chase's IEP is
man, I can't imagine.
Listen, a regular typical girl going through puberty might need to have a damn IEP. Let's be clear, because you can have an IEP just for emotional support. Just for an emotional support, you can have it for it too. Now my kid is emotional support. Right. My son is different. My son is not autistic. He, in most ways, he is a typical child, right? Cognitively, but he is dyslexic. He does have, I believe he has an auditory processing disorder, which that's a whole nother thing. The vein of my existence. He know
how to be smart though. I'll tell you that smart mouth ain't changed. I'll tell you right now. He knows just how to.
I just think that's just him being a boy. You say one thing, he hears another. That's how it is.
Yeah, but that's true though. But he again, he's a typical child. He's in a typical class, but they pull him out for his support. So they pull him out of the classroom. They work with him. He has a certain amount of hours that he is guaranteed in his IEP that they work with him on his speech and his reading skills, and then they put him back into the classroom. And like he has specific things, like when he takes his test, he doesn't read the test and answer the questions like everyone else. They have to verbally give him his test all the time. They have to read that to him. So it's the same exact test. It's just that they give him verbal instruction instead of him having to read it because that's difficult for him. But the thing about it is with dyslexia, you talk about them letting you slip and fall. They did not want to give him a test. They didn't want to reevaluate him. So when he switched from chest, they did not want to reevaluate him, and I had to fight. I'll talk about that another time. But I had to fight with them because they only do it every 3 years. So my son wouldn't have got reevaluated for another 3 years, and they would have just been teaching him like he did not have dyslexia. And do you know how far behind he would have been? So you have to advocate for your kids because they don't give a fuck. That white man, that principal, let me tell you what you is gonna fucking do, okay? And it was a black teacher, his kindergarten teacher, that said, I am seeing something because my daughter is dyslexic and I see something and I want you to pay attention. And you might have to go to court and you might have to do all this stuff, but be on it. And I thank her every day. Turnaround was one of my residents, the whole funny thing. But I thank her every day for that because they would have been talking to me like I'm crazy.
Right.
You know, and Chase would have been behind the 8 ball for reading. And he can read, but his confidence is not there. So he'll always be like, you know, I can't read. And I'll be like, you can read. You just have it set in your
That boy gonna be a comedian or something, man. I'll tell you that. He is funny.
He want to embarrass me. He want to embarrass me.
You know, I couldn't read. Like, he played too much. Who jokes about that as the kid, though? You know what I'm saying?
No, he's not joking. That's his him being self-conscious and not having the confidence. So I'll be like, no, you don't read well, but you can read. Because I'll be like, read it. I'm not going to tell you, read it. And then he reads it. And I'm like, you can read. It's you have it set in your mind that you can't. And because of that, you're going to make missteps because you're going to, you have it made up that, you know, you have this anxiety about reading in front of people. Yeah. But anyway, so before we move on to our next topic, because like I said, my goal is always to try to help people and educate people. When I was going through my journey with my daughter, I didn't know what I was looking at. I didn't have any people to ask about it because Black people hide this stuff. That's one of the reasons why we here right now doing this show is because I started talking about stuff, and you're going to hear me say this multiple times, but people were inboxing me. There's people right now, I know their kid is autistic or their nephew is autistic or their niece is autistic. They don't talk about it. They post their kid all the time, never mention the fact that their kid is autistic. And I'm not saying that it is anyone's business, but also why is it a secret is what I'm saying. So they'll inbox me like, hey, you know, what do I do? I think this, I think that. And so it's still people treating it like it's something to be ashamed of or something to be embarrassed about. But if we don't talk about it amongst ourselves, we don't know that we could be helping somebody else. If I wasn't talking about it, you wouldn't know to come to my inbox to ask me, how do I get this person help? Or how do I get my child help? Because I feel like the parents is in denial or their dad is in denial or whatever the case may be. Somebody had to be the one to talk about it.
Right. You gotta normalize it.
Because
it's normalize the conversation.
Because it honestly is normal. Ain't nobody right in the head. Let's be for real.
Not one.
And my kids got a lot more sense than a lot of people's kids.
I'm trying to tell you.
My medicine
These
helps.
kids have taught me some stuff. My way of thinking has changed a lot being around children, people, adults who are autistic. They are so dope for real. Like they got a lot. It's just a way that their mind works. It just makes you think of everything in a different perspective. And it opens you up to more opportunities and, you know, more knowledge and stuff. So I think people should not be embarrassed or I don't know. I don't really understand. I understand, but I can't relate.
you know what's crazy? So I didn't have some damn issues with the electrical stuff in my house. And my daughter's bed caught on fire, which I told you all about. So, you know, there's people that think that my daughter started the fire, not even knowing that my daughter wasn't even in the room. I was in the room when the goddamn fire started. She was nowhere near the goddamn bed. And I can leave my daughter in the house and go run errands and shop and do whatever else. She don't touch a goddamn thing. She gonna make herself something to eat. She gonna, play on her phone, watch a movie or two, play with her toys. Ain't gonna touch a goddamn thing. Versus some of y'all kids that'll be in here burning the house down, sneaking boys in,
breaking shit,
stealing your money, all types of stuff. I can leave my house and I'm gonna come back and my house gonna be how I left it. And I'm gonna leave and my daughter gonna be how I left her when I left. Like, which is crazy to me, which is why it's a spectrum. Mm-hmm. You can't assume that my daughter can be alone or like, I know what my daughter can and cannot do. You know what I'm saying? that just made me mad because I was just like, so now she a fire starter because she's autistic. Where the fuck y'all get that from? That's a pyromaniac. That is not a typical symptom of autism. That is something from a comorbid diagnosis. And the comorbid diagnosis, for y'all that don't know, is when you have more than one thing going on. So in my daughter's instance, she's autistic, and she has inattentive type ADHD, and she has a genetic disorder, which I probably should talk about because it's very rare and people don't know about it. But so she a fire starter now. Okay. So for you people out there who
you're an arsonist.
It wasn't me, Sal. I literally was sitting there in the bed.
It was just that one time. Should a whole wait until Excel moment and just sit that bitch. You
got the public fire to be a pyromaniac.
She just walked away, never looked back.
It ain't no men in this house. So the only man in this house is my son, and he ain't a man. So there you go. So for any of y'all parents out there, or like new parents, potential parents, just so you kind of have an idea, like me and Tokyo, we could be around kids and kind of we see shit that we got we have a third eye now. And they might not be autistic, but it's a whole lot of stuff that could be going on with kids. Mood disorders, PTSD. Y'all kids just bad as shit and y'all in denial. Some of y'all got some mean ass kids, and I don't like y'all kids. You be like,
that's a whole nother episode for another day. These fucking kids in this goddamn city.
Philly.
Demons.
Don't come to Philly. These kids
legit demons. They will rob you and your mother.
Listen.
Yeah.
Real shit. Like, and they'll take your car. Because that's what they do now. They steal your car.
That part.
And they fucking killing each other on the way to school. It's fucking insane.
But let me wrap this up. Let me wrap this up with some of the signs of autism, and bear with me because it's a lot. But like I said, I wanted to be informative. So it may be something that you was wondering about, curious about. It may be your own child. It may be somebody else's child. It may be something that you'll notice in the future. But I'm gonna just put the bug in your ear right now, because when I was seeing things, I didn't know what I was seeing with my own child. I had suspicions, thank goodness, early on. Like I said, she was diagnosed very early, unlike a lot of Black children, but that's not the norm. That's not the norm. So some of the signs of autism. Let's start first with social communication, and I'm going to run through it fast for you guys. Avoids or has no eye contact. Won't respond to their name by the age of 19 months. No facial expressions by 9 months. Did I say 19 or 9 months? Won't respond to name by 9 months. No facial expressions by 9 months. Does not play simple games like patty cake by 12 months. Uses no gestures by 12 months like waving goodbye. Does not share interests like a toy they like by 15 months. Does not point to you or show you something by 18 months. Does not notice when other people are hurt by 24 months. Does not notice other children or join in play by 3 years. Does not pretend to be something else like a superhero during play by 4 years. Does not sing, dance, or act by 5 years of age. Restricted repetitive behaviors. Lines up toys and gets upset when the order is changed. Echolalia. And echolalia is when they repeat words or phrases over and over again. So like they watch something on TV and maybe the cartoon character was like, that sure was funny. And so they'll just keep repeating their phrase over and over again. Yeah, it's like all their speech is made up of echolalia, phrases that they hear off of TV. Plays with toys the same way every time. Is focused on parts or objects like wheels. Gets upset over what the heck? Gets upset over changes. Obsessive interest. Must follow certain routines. Flaps hands, rocks body, spins in circles. And we all have a stem. That's called stemming. When they flap their hands, rock their body, spins in circles. And newsflash, we all have a stem. Every single one of us has a stem. Mine's a shake. What's your stem? Stroking your beard?
My beard.
You didn't have a beard when you was a child.
How you know? I was born like this. Don't put me in a box.
My stem is shaking my leg. Ever since I was a child, I incessantly shake my leg. I don't even know I'm doing it. It brings me comfort. I don't like for people to stop me doing it. Let me do what I do. That's my stem. But we all have a stem. Unusual reaction to the way things sound, smell, taste, look, or feel. And lastly, in the area of other, any delayed language, delayed movement skills, delayed cognitive and learning skills, hyperactive, impulsive, or inattentive behavior, epilepsy, unusual eating or sleeping habits, gastrointestinal issues like constipation, unusual mood or emotional reactions, anxiety, excessive worry, lack of fear, or more fear than expected. So,
Man, list is long as shit.
It is long.
It's just like, what?
But I will say this. If you are experiencing any of these things with a child, you know it.
That's true.
After what I just said, if you're seeing that in your kid, you know it.
That light goes off.
The last two things, the restrictive, repetitive behaviors, and the other with my daughter, when I say check, it was so many things that she was going through that I checked off on that list. When you go to the developmental pediatrician, and they give you a packet that's like this. The packet is thick as shit. And they are going to ask you everything under the sun about your kid. They don't just diagnose them like that. It's not an easy thing. It's a all-day appointment. And before you even get the appointment, the packet is long as shit. So they not just out here randomly diagnosing kids and over-diagnosing kids.
That's what they did with ADHD back in the day. Oh, the kid can't sit still. ADHD.
Right.
They overdo ADHD though, but yeah.
But you also can get diagnosed with ADHD from going to a developmental pediatrician where you will be filling out that packet. So Savannah didn't get diagnosed with ADHD until like when she was like, what, 4 or 5. It was years later. She got formally diagnosed with autism too. And then it was a few years later before they diagnosed her with ADHD. So, there is help out there for you. So let's wrap it up like that. Before we move on to the debauchery, if you think that your child potentially is autistic or has ADHD or a number of other things, a mood disorder, emotional issues, if you think a family member's child possibly could be autistic or have some other things going on, urge them to seek out a developmental pediatrician. A neurologist can diagnose as well. And then there's other organizations like the Center for Autism. In Philadelphia, we have ChildLink, which does 0 to 3-year-old evaluations. And then we have Elwin that picks up from 3 to 5. And you can get evaluations for your children through all of these agencies. It's simple. You can Google it, or you can slide in my inbox. You wouldn't be the first, second, third, fourth, fifth person to do it and ask these questions. I used to have packets that I kept that I would give out to parents so that they could go to a particular developmental pediatrician and get an appointment. But I am willing to help people in any way, shape, or form. There's a lot of things out there. You can get free diapers. You can get free wipes, chucks. If nobody knows what a chuck is, it's that pad that they put underneath for your kid, like if they're still wet in the bed and things like that. There's free medical equipment. Your child can be eligible to get Social Security, so you have extra income coming in so that you can pay for, for them to go to some type of camp that'll help them with emotional, regulation and things. It's a lot of things out there for you if you do the research, if you get the education, and if you are willing to ask for help and acknowledge that there is an issue. Not necessarily that it's a problem, but that there is an issue. But the issue will develop to a problem if you don't get your child help, because kids that are undiagnosed and don't know, they are going to be more likely to be depressed and have mood disorders, especially girls, eating disorders, and all types of things. So I just urge y'all, don't look at it like a bad thing. It's really, really not. It's not. but it can be if you don't get help out there. So thank y'all for bearing with me with that. I don't really care if y'all ain't like it. It's like, no, I'm joking.
The more you know.
I know y'all used to some more scandalous things, but it's about the children. Gina love the kids.
Gina love the kids.
So it's about the children this month, and that's what we're going to focus on. Now we can move on to the debauchery. If you are still here, or if you end up coming in, if you watch the replay, it is what it is. I'm going to let Tokyo have the floor now that I have talked y'all ear off.
So welcome to Inside the Box.
Inside the box.
Hey, who's professional here? who's professional here? Let's be real. You know why I'm here. Let me do what I do.
Okay.
Thank you. Inside the box. Yeah. Now we can go.
Thank you. So today we're going to get into some creepy shit, okay? We're going to talk about something called Formicophilia, okay? Now, or let's give it a better name, the other name, aka bug play.
AKA let him come.
Let him come.
Let him come.
Where is Carolyn at? Where is Carolyn at? Carolyn let me down today. Where is she at? The nerve of Carolyn having something to do. I'm gonna tell her about herself.
So, bug play is a form. Now, last week we talked about zoophilia, which is having sex with animals. This is a form of zoophilia. This is a form of it because it's a insect or whatever. Is a form of zoophilia where you have a sexual interest in being crawled upon, nibbled on, or completely covered in bugs. Okay. Insects such as ants, small creatures, slugs, worms, snails, any type of anything that people would consider creepy crawlies,
So like AKA fear factor.
Pretty much. That would be like a orgy. Fear factor would be orgy level to these people. Okay.
Oh God.
Now, they get sexually aroused by the stinging, tickling, the slimy feeling, the crawly feeling. Technically, it's like a sensation play type thing. The different sensations that they feel throughout their body when they're being crawled upon will lead to a sexual arousal. Mm-hmm. They would get sexually aroused by that sensation. This often involves the application of insects to the genitals areas of the body, but you could put it anywhere. A lot of people do. They put it on their private areas, but the crawling, yes.
Yeah, we're going there.
Hey, Louie, where you been at? Yes. Crawling on the skin.
Bed bugs.
Bed bugs.
Yeah, be real.
Hey, what are y'all doing in here? Hey, y'all. Yes. So the sensation of that is arousing. I have some case studies that I wanted to get into because it's wild. But I want to kind of.
It looks disgusting.
It's wild.
That snail picture is nasty.
He put it up.
Put that one up first. There we go.
Oh my God. So
leave that up there for a minute.
Now, like it says on this picture, some people do use bugs as a form of BDSM, a form of kind of like torture and the psychological distress that it gives to other people. Because people typically don't like the feeling of bugs and shit. Like, it's creepy. It's a gut punch reaction to wipe a bug off you if a mosquito sting you or something like that. Your gut punch reaction is to like cringe. These people, that cringe is enticing, and for others, they want to inflict that pain, anxiety on others. Stress. I will be losing it. Okay.
That's shorty coming right now.
She looks so. Don't you look at ease? She's so at ease.
Like,
He does, but it's
crawl
like,
on my
why are
face.
you at ease? Like, what?
So,
A whole bunch of Aries on his face.
Lewis said, please take that off the screen.
I know they don't get too long. You can't take it off now. It's creeping me out.
But look at that shit getting off.
Ew.
No.
So, some fun facts. Mm-hmm. Being stung with the penis increases in the intensity and duration of an orgasm. So if you get stung by a bee or some type of stinging creature, get bit by ants and stuff like that, you can have a better long-lasting orgasm.
Lies. I've been stung by a bee. I ain't nut. It's some bullshit.
So you get stung by a bee. Wait, does it have to be in your penis?
Yes, if you get stung on the penis, yes,
no.
It increases. So for example, if I'm a man, I'm turned on by bees crawling on my penis. I'm erect. I'm excited. So the fact that it's on me is getting me off. You know, I'm excited. I'm damn near about to come. So when he stings me on my penis, you know what I mean? That just was like, oh, I done came. That was it. And I done came super hard and intense, and it lasted for longer than 2 seconds.
I'm just trying to figure out in what situation was somebody dick out for them to realize that they want a bee to sting their dick, and that's going to be the thing. Like, how does that happen? Like,
how do you get a bee to do it? A bee. I know like people only have like the bear for bees. I know those folks are like weird and shit, but behind closed doors, like, all right, I'm gonna take these bees off my beard and put them down there.
You can pick up a bee and put it anywhere on your body. It's not hard. It's just that you got to know where they are. You got to know.
Yeah, show me how to catch a bee. Oh.
And bees and animals are attracted to certain things. So, like, I think I was what was it? Ants? Oh my god, ants or something is like attracted to electricity, or snails. They're all got things that they like, you know. So you can kind of entice them to come to this area. Some white European. Listen, it got to be. So I kind of want to. You said, how do they get into the mindset of making this happen? So as a case study, this is how this particular person, I'm not going to say any names, I'm just going to kind of talk about his issue. So at the age of 14, this patient saw an ice cream stick covered in ants. His first thought was, what it would feel like if his penis was that ice cream stick. So in his mind, I guess a stick is like phallic, so he probably was like, it's covered. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if my penis was right there? What would that feel like? I think a lot of it starts off as like a eye curiosity.
How old was he? Again,
he was 14. He was 14.
So at 14 years old, he was thinking about ants in his dick.
I think he was just thinking about his dick. Period. You're 14. You're a 14-year-old boy. You just think about, all right, I'm gonna just replace things with my dick and see if it works out.
And that's what I think some of them start off as, like this weird, like, what would happen if, you know what I mean? He really wanted it to be fire ants. So he started controlling his genitals, and he became sexually aroused by it in his adulthood. He was a socially and intellectually competent person, but he was also attracted to dogs and goats. So he had a lot. He did a lot of shit to dogs and goats. So he had a lot of things.
He needed. Billy needs some help.
He had a lot of things. He imagines
Billy needs some help.
Billy is a serial killer. What did you talk about? He attracted to dogs and goats, and he wants ants on his dick.
Like, yo, you know, you have a hole there, right? Like, what?
That's what I said.
Urethra, like, ooh, Negro.
But I'm very glad you brought up urethra, so we're gonna talk about that. Y'all been leewaying me into all my things. So, I was watching not a documentary on this or whatever, and people were talking about how they feel, you know, with this paraphilia or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
One person said he liked to insert earthworms into his urethra. Okay. Let me tell you how. This is wild. This is how you know niggas are geniuses. Listen, people are geniuses. The way I would never in my life thought of this shit, right? He said what he does is he inserts his penis into something cold, maybe ice, because earthworms like cold. Okay. He'll put his penis in something cold, right? And then what he'll do is he will like kind of like put them in that area, you know, put them in that area, and then it's like, okay, it's cold, it gets him to go in there. How he is, so he says, my thought is, how the fuck do you get it out, right? If this nigga go up in your urethra, right?
I'm closing my urethra right now. I'm just like grabbing it. This is just
listen. So in order to get it to actually go into the actual pee hole, he uses incense. So you know, a lot of bugs don't like smoke. You use incense to like get them to go in this direction, right to his urethra. To get it to come out, he will either once you go into the penis and the blood flow, it will start to warm up. So the deeper you go, the hotter it gets. So they don't like the heat. So the worm will either back out backwards or he'll turn. He'll turn and come out. And when he said when it turns and comes out, it's the most euphoric, amazing feeling that he's ever had.
Nigga.
What? He goes, listen, that man, the man who tells his story loves this shit, okay? This is his life. And the thing is, he has, I guess he has like a partner or whatever, but his partner actually said like, yo, the way you look when you're doing this is wild. Like, watch? She watched him do it, I guess. And she said, yo, you're so happy. Like, I can't compete with that shit. That's how I felt. I can't compete with that. Wild.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, you don't deserve. If you're not going, what's wrong with good old fashioned just vagina?
And you know what?
When did that just become so overrated? I'm gonna put an earthworm in my pee hole.
Fuck you and your titties.
I got my worms.
Some of these people don't have interest in regular sex. They don't really have interest in having sex. Right. This is their shit. Like, this is their shit. Like, this is what gets them off and how they.
So when the worm is coming out, right? Does he ejaculate and then like the worm is like expunged from his urethra? Like, is that what happened?
I'm assuming,
but I don't. He didn't describe it that way. He described it as the feeling when it comes out. I'm assuming he comes right after, because I can't imagine him like, maybe he don't. I don't know.
I can't fix my face to be normal. This is just too cringy for me. I can't.
What the fuck?
No, I'm thinking in my head. I don't know if y'all seen the last season of The Boys.
Yeah.
The first episode, the guy that shrunk down and like went into his urethra and started like rubbing his walls and shit. He was like, "Ooh, yeah, babe." I was like, "No."
Yeah. And then he sneezed.
Urethra play is a thing, so it is a whole kink.
No, it's not. How? Like, I never had a catheter in me. I've been told that shit hurt like crazy. So I don't see how that can be pleasurable to anybody.
Lewis said this is some next level bullshit.
And beyond.
So I want to talk about another case study. This one is a little more in depth. So this particular child, he's a male. He kept ants in his cupboard at a hobby that he was 9. He enjoyed the ticklish feeling. It started off at just like, oh my god, you know, ants and shit. He just liked bugs. And then he started letting them crawl on his legs and thighs. When he was 10, he said he had a sexual relationship with another boy. I don't know how sexual it was, but he played with a little boy. The dad severely beat him for this. So he kind of rejected that part of his life and decided to kind of like focus on the things that made him happy. Like, he liked bugs. So instead of because he got his ass whooped doing something sexual with this, it kind of imprinted on a different type of his life. Right. So he ended up going more into his hobby of playing with bugs. So around 13 or 14, when he go through puberty, he ended up getting snails and cockroach collection, and really got preoccupied with bugs. Right. So then he started masturbating to them and letting them crawl on him. At 28, he was masturbating several times a week with cockroaches crawling on his thighs and testicles. And snails crawling over his nipples and penis. Wait. And sometimes he would hold a frog against his penis to enjoy the vibrations as it tried to escape.
Motherfucker.
Now, this particular guy was disgusted with himself, right? He was disgusted with himself. He did not like that he did this. He thought it was disgusting and things like that, which could be projecting from, him really being gay and then kind of turn into something more extreme or whatever situation may be. So he's
the dude in the ass. Like, what the fuck?
Child. Okay.
Ooh, Ty.
Because I like bugs is wild. I can't.
Mom beat his ass. Like, why do I clean your sheets with all these fucking bugs in these sheets? They stuck together.
Like,
what is going on?
How did they not run away? How did they not run away? Like,
they know they are attracted to certain things. So the people that get into this bug play know exactly what attracts them and what doesn't. I was just reading, oh God, I can't even remember everything. I was reading, like I said, ants are attracted to electricity, but then when they get electrocuted, they'll give off a pheromone, bring more ants. So I'm guessing that's probably what they do. They probably like, fuck with the ant call their friends, all the ants come to their location. Certain ways that they can learn to get this done. Now,
that ain't right.
Only treatment is right. Like, huh?
That ain't right. Now my mind's just wandering around. Me being a sick fuck. I'm just
you're not a sick fuck.
He has his ant farm, right? And it's like, I'm just gonna take your queen. I got your queen. What you gonna do for it? He's just like, I'm just gonna just slide you downhill.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the type of stuff. Your queen back. And this particular guy derived no pleasure from normal sexual activities. But this was just an alternative outlet. Regardless if you have if you have some type of trauma associated with your sexuality, that doesn't mean your sexual urges go away. So you almost got to be like, well, what the fuck can I do? You know what I'm saying? And this is kind of where he went with it. But he had a disdain for the regular sex. Like, fuck that. I want to have sex with niggas. I can't do that. So fuck you bugs.
Yes, you can.
I blame his father because you didn't want your fucking son to be gay, and now he fucking roaches and shit.
Treatment wise, there's not a lot of treatment. You can have like cognitive therapy, and you know what? The only thing I've seen was, I want to say conversion therapy, but that's not the word. It might be though. Where you kind of like try to see regular sexual stuff and masturbate to that, like so you can get aroused to that, and then kind of the bugs are more looked at as a negative thing. Like you have a disgust response to that. And not, not conversion. I feel like it's the wrong word.
Like Bugs Life sex tape.
They was watching ants and they was like, ooh. But why are all these children in here?
So
my thing is the spiders. Like, the spiders though, like,
and some people that
hate spiders.
Some people that do have this fetish also have a fetish. It kind of coincides with like a nature fetish. So like being out in the woods and hearing the birds and the trees, and something to do with nature, laying on the floor, getting covered and all that, all kind of goes together. So it kind of coincides with that a lot of times. But sometimes no, they go and get.
Well,
got me twitching over here.
I wouldn't have a problem. Like I could see how it would turn you on, like having sex out in the woods and natures with the trees and the wind blowing over your naked skin. That's sexy. You know what I'm saying? But a roach, you know, crawling on my dick, that's typically
like a 1,000-legger, like millipede.
That's typically not a preference. You know what I mean? Normally, if you look up and a roach is crawling on your leg, you like, you know what? It's time to fucking go. All right, but these people are comforted by this, and I don't see how you get into it. I thought like penises, like they want to be in something warm and moist with a little grip on it. How? That's what you would think, but no. How is that preferable?
You know what? Those ever since I was a kid, every time I go to like the like Nature Science Museum, there's always that one keeper that had like, oh, you want to see something cool, and he has like a whole bunch of crazy ass insects. Like, oh, don't be afraid, they're my buddies. That motherfucker. That motherfucker. You want to pet Harry? Harry's a fucking tarantula. I don't want to touch that shit. And he's like, oh, look, he's all cool. He'll crawl. No, that nigga. Take those bugs away from him.
He having sex with the bugs.
That guy.
Just his dick out just at the Academy of Natural Sciences and stuff. That's
after hours.
He like, ooh, Madagascar hissing cockroaches.
Oh god, like hiss on this dick. What? I'm sorry, Tequila. I can't. Did you want me to put the other ones on there? I can put the other ones on there.
Yeah, put the other ones up there.
Oh Lord. All right, here it comes, guys. We warned you now.
Brace yourself.
So the term was coined by Ratnan, I can't pronounce their last name, and John Money in 1986 from the Latin formica, ant, plus the Greek philia, which is love. So
why was it two niggas though? Why did two people coin this?
Because y'all niggas is nasty. Y'all niggas, nasty. I will put y'all dick on in
just be one person.
On next to, beside, on the top of anything to see if you can get a sexual response. Y'all will fuck a fucking tree if you could.
Trust me, someone's putting a big giant earthworm in a pussy. I'm sure.
Lewis talk about after hours at the Franklin Institute. Now the Academy of Natural Sciences is where it's really at, okay? If they have like a nice bug exhibit there, or the butterfly
exhibit.
Yeah, I forget the name of it. Yeah, just running naked through the butterfly.
Give them places to go. Like, don't give them places to go. Like,
I'm gonna get my butterfly kisses now.
I'm about to corner the market. Like, yeah, you know, I know where you can get your dick slugged on real good. That's what we're gonna call it.
And no. You know, it's always a discrepancy when it comes to animals or zoophilia situations with consent. They believe that, you know, you have the one side that's like, nigga, we ain't, just let them crawl on me and I'm going to get off that way. And you have people that's like, that's not consent. They not consent to being crawling on your penis. I think that's fucking ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You know, there's no consent. There's no consent for them to crawl on anything. So those that like, these people making issues out of nothing. It's already, just say it's trifling. Just say it's nasty. You letting this thing crawl in.
Well, it seems like it's only men that like to have sex with bugs.
That's the only case I was seeing was men. So I don't, and I can't find any statistics. I try to find statistics between men and women, and even the animals the insects that they like the most. And the only one I see mostly is like slugs and ants, but I can't find any statistics on it. And I'm wondering if it's just because nobody talk about it.
What the hell? They don't talk about it. I like fucking slugs and ants. Like, who's coming out? Well, technically, they not really fucking them, but they, who's going to come out and be like, what really gets me off is when these ants crawl over top of me. Like, who's going to?
And the one lady was like, yeah, they're not consenting to being put on your penis, And so the guy that do it was like, they don't know they're on my penis. You know what I mean? Like, they're not aware.
You want to fuck the tree?
That's the thing too. I have heard something about that.
Fuck around and find out.
You said you convincing you know. Well, listen, if you try it,
You know.
listen, Jack.
If y'all try it, tell me what it's like.
Let me know.
Go for a nice little picnic in your picnic basket and let the ants come and you have a full day.
Put a little honey on your dick and see what happens. Like I don't know.
I can't stop scratching. Like this is I fucking hate bugs.
Just take a picture of your dick covered in ants.
All right.
I refuse.
All right, here comes the next picture. I'm gonna get this picture out the way.
These paraphilia involves the application of genitals, but in others may be the focus. Yeah, it doesn't have to be your penis, but it do be.
Black widow, you don't want that shit on you. All right. Get out of here. I hate spiders.
So if you have this paraphilia or this, formicophilia, bug play situation, just be safe. I don't recommend y'all letting them sting you. I think that's wild. Also, fun fact though, if you get stung on your penis, it does increase the depth. It gets bigger. It goes from like 6.5 to 6.5. So it does get bigger, but I don't know the lasting effects of that.
Not in a good way. Not in a good way. It gets bigger.
What you're saying to me is, men out there, you have a small penis.
You want a natural Viagra?
A natural way to get your dick bigger. So go on and find yourself a little bee's nest, a beekeeper, if you will, and let them dip your dick in honey, and just take a little walk through and go pleasure her. That's all I'm saying.
Honestly, it's going to be pollen. You need pollen on your dick because bees don't go attract the honey. You need pollen.
And it's even bigger on the second.
Bees don't like. Bees not gonna come if you put honey on, Lord.
Well, no, bees make the honey.
No, they make honey.
It's just a byproduct of getting pollen. So
yeah, you need a plant. You need a flower.
Yeah,
a hydrangea or some shit. Something.
This is not the way they depict it in the cartoons.
The bears like the honey.
Well, I'm sure there's somebody out there that want a bear too. So at this point,
help the bear.
We got sheeps, dogs, like roaches now. The roach is the one that's really getting me. Like
I fucking hate
not
that
a
person.
fucking roach. Where did oh my god. And if you live in a household without, roaches, where did you go get these roaches from? You just
get cockroaches. You can buy cockroaches. You can buy a little critter.
You buy a cock?
You usually buy them for like other
other pets like frogs and like lizards and shit.
I'm not feeding my animals no roaches. And isn't it something
they're farm raised?
I never want a roach in my household, like voluntarily. Like I'm going to buy a roach to put in my house. It makes no fucking sense to me. Who does that? We need to kill them all.
I agree. I don't think they bring any.
What do we need roaches for?
Roaches and mosquitoes are two things we can get rid of on the planet.
Like we need bees. I understand that we need bees, but what the fuck do we need roaches for? The crawl on people's dicks? Apparently,
pretty much. I mean, roaches have been around for the.
So is that how we can't get rid of roaches? Is because there's a whole, secret group of people keeping them alive? Look, if you have a dick, you can.
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
You're telling the truth. You're telling the truth, and time and time again, we see that men will try to stick it.
It doesn't mean that you should, though. But
hot apple pies.
We got to a venture, right? moving the needle in progress in sexual exploitation.
He was using the frog like a fleshlight.
I'm almost out of liquor. No, I ain't out of liquor.
He is using a frog as a fleshlight. Who does that? Like, what? That is a demented mind.
You have this. I don't recommend.
If you haven't, seek help.
Because I feel like you can hurt yourself. And it can cause some hurt, some pain. Getting stung ain't nice. At least take a Benadryl or something beforehand, some type of antihistamine. I don't know. I think it's all. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
I think women do it, but they just hear sense enough not to let people know that they do it. You know what I'm saying? And like we really do try not to kink shame. We do.
We try.
We try really hard not to kink shame, but some of the shit is like, what do you do when you walk in and you see your man or your son like masturbating with using a frog? Like,
stop it.
Because I wouldn't even be able to wrap my head around it. I'll be like, what the fuck are you doing to that frog? What's going on? Like, what happened? Can you get a disease from it?
I'm sure you get warts. You touch the frog, you get warts.
Is that true, or is that?
Yeah.
I didn't even see.
That's true. You
but
get
you
warts.
can get something to be stung. You can get at least get anaphylactic shock or something. You know what I mean? You can get.
Can you imagine? And then you
I need a needle.
Just out, and they like the paramedics show up. You on the floor, your dick out, and what the fuck is going on?
Not Kermit.
No, not unless Kermit.
Ribbit, motherfucker, ribbit.
Wow.
No.
Yes, we have the technology. We can make them smarter.
Technology, right? It's way too many things.
Take this Oculus and have sex. I'd rather that happen than anything. Like,
I don't want my son to be that demented. Is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like the vagina or booty, whatever the case may be, whatever your preference is either vagina or booty. It is plentiful and bountiful.
Of human. Now we have to say human.
Of humans. Of humans. It's plentiful.
Can't say animals got pussies and assholes.
I don't even want to think about my child having sex, let alone me walking in and he got snails all over him. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, how the fuck did these snails get in my fucking house? And you're not going to tell me that there wasn't an incident when some of these bugs went running amiss. So now, you know, you got grandma wondering why is ants, roaches, snails, and frogs all over the goddamn house.
Calling fucking Terminex 3 times a week.
She calling the pastor over. She think it's the end of days. It's a plague. It's a plague upon the
locusts.
Because that's a random ass combination of shit. Like, pastor, it was frogs. I went in the bathroom. It was snail. Like, what the fuck is going on in my house? Like, that's not even a normal fucking thing to have in the house. Like, I never just woke up and seen a snail crawling down the goddamn hallway.
Right.
Or leeches. You put a leech on your titty? It'll suck on you?
Oh my God. I'm sure that.
I mean, that chick was getting a whole facial.
Yeah.
She was in love. She was like, just cream all over my face.
Ooh, it looks disgusting. It looks nasty.
And then she ate him afterwards. Escargot.
Yeah. I eat you, you eat me, we eat each other. So do they think they're in love with insects? Like the zoo?
I think yes. I don't want to say in love, but I do think they have this an affection for them.
Yeah.
Like the way that if you look at, maybe I'll send it in the chat, but if you look at the way that they talk about it, they talk about like a loved one. You know what I mean? Like bugs, and he's so, that feels so like, oh my God, they explain it as if it's like a beautiful symphony, like it's just wow.
Oh God.
Wow. It's wild. It's wild. They like a lot of love and euphoria they get from this.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. At least you can see a dog's facial expression. You know what I'm saying?
All right, we're gonna have to find next week. We gotta get a king that we can get down with. Like, hey, you know what? We can actually try this shit.
Listen.
I mean, you could try it. It ain't like you can't try it.
I'm not trying that shit.
Ty,
try it.
Ty gonna come in the house and she was gonna have a bag of snails. Like, guess what I got? Guess what we're doing tonight?
Burning my whole house down. I'm burning my house down.
It's a snail, as long as it ain't cockroaches.
Send
us pictures. Tie him up tie, and then put the snails on his dick. Tie him up, put the snails on his dick, take pictures. You know.
What? No. No. She hates bugs too, so she definitely.
Technically, a snail is not a bug.
It's a fuck it was what it is.
Oh, man.
That's right.
He said, "Hell no." For science.
Oh, hell no.
For science.
Science.
We already established that we do things down here for science. We make mice come and all types of things. How are we supposed to get? There's not enough studies available, so we.
Well, I ain't date that girl. That was the first and last time.
That's crazy. Did she call you like, what happened?
She did. And
she really had no clue that it was because she said she jerked the mice off.
Well, if she watches the show, she would know. But I ain't fucking answering.
I didn't even answer.
I ain't bothering. I can't what? Come on. She probably was
sitting somewhere like, I don't know what happened. It seemed like we had chemistry and everything. I told him about my job, told him about the mice and jerking them off, and
that's when the girlfriend you shouldn't have should have told him about the mice jerking.
She probably was like, bitch, I told you stop telling people about that.
Exactly. This is why you can't keep no man, because you've just beaten mice dick all day. Like, what the fuck?
You know what? Maybe she had a fetish. Maybe she was just like, I prefer the company of mice.
Then she don't need me. That's perfectly fine. But you can't tell me, I had a good day today and expect me to touch your hands or whatever. I don't know. I'm not doing that.
She was like, you want some dinner? I was here. I was mixing up a few.
Just the thought of it just like makes my stomach hurt. It's cringe.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm cracking up. Oh,
yeah, couldn't make that one work.
Oh Lord, she probably got pet mice in her house. She's just let the mice run around. Don't hurt them. Don't hurt them. I know
mice are people too. The fuck they ain't.
She said, I know what they need. I know what y'all here for. You heard about me.
The fucking Pied Piper of mice beating.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. So it's no hope for y'all Formicophilia or whatever y'all are. Y'all Formicophilia.
Y'all on y'all own on that one.
I don't know what's worse, fucking a dog or fucking a cockroach. I don't.
They're all bad. Same thing. All of it. It's all bad.
There is no one or the other in this scenario.
They probably judge each other though. I'm
sure they do. I'm sure they do.
You fucking a cockroach, and they like, you fucking Fido. So
I'd rather be celibate if given the two choices.
Anyway.
Well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, you walked in kind of late, but we are talking about people who like to have insects or snails, as the case may be, crawl on their penis so that they can get aroused and climax. That's what we were discussing.
Earthworms in the urethra hole.
Yeah. Oh, the earthworm. I forgot all about that shit. And a gentleman who likes to put earthworms in his urethra hole so that he can climax. That's what you walked in on. I would suggest to you that you rewind a little bit.
I knew it. I say he gonna go right back. He gonna go right back out.
We're scaring people away.
Some people just gotta go.
We're not into it. We're not into
it. These are things that I'm trying to educate y'all on.
Yes, we're educating people on different kinks and fetishes. Talk to me, nerdy. All right, so we do it every Thursday. We have a discussion about some strange erotic fetish. That's all I'm saying. Some of it you may like, and some of it, like this, is a no.
I'm waiting for the one I like. I was just waiting for that wheel to spin and land on it.
Truth is always going to be stranger than fiction. That's all I'm going to say.
Very true.
Because I never thought that a man would dip his penis in ice so that an earthworm would crawl into it. Never would have thought that.
Doesn't make sense.
All the work you put in. You put a lot of work in.
or putting bee stings on your dick. I don't know.
It's a lot. I got a lot of. I'm gonna have nightmares tonight.
But I do remember that this is one insect that if you do get stung by it, it will like keep your dick hard for like a day and a half.
Ooh, what?
I forget what insect it is, but yeah, the poison that it gives off will like keep your dick hard. Like,
but will you die?
Possibly.
Can you imagine? Oh no, I got stung by a zertle. But before I die, come get this work. like what? Like, how do people? I don't even know how these things happen and occur for people to find out that it works. Like,
he knows the answer. It's full of meth.
I'm You know what? You got a point. It could be meth. Because I wouldn't even think an earthworm could really fit inside the urethra. How big?
And earthworms can get big. They can't get big.
They go stretch. They kind of get skinnier and skinnier. So that's a lot. That's a lot. It's a lot of work.
I'm gonna Google.
I don't recommend.
What you going to Google?
How big earthworms get?
How big is your urethra? Like, do you ever try to stick anything in there?
No.
Don't and look at me.
They can go to 4 feet.
Huh?
They can reach up to 4 feet.
Okay.
Oh my God! You know how big 4 feet is? A small person.
Don't look at me like I was asking a crazy question. It's the hole is on you. You could have tried to stick something in it. As a child, people sticking earthworms on it. Maybe you stuck a Q-tip in there, or
no, nothing goes in. Everything comes out. And that's the way the world works.
Never like food items, or I know some of y'all men watching. I know y'all tried to stick something in the hole.
Nothing goes in there. It doesn't feel good. Like I remember, like
the earthworm feels good apparently.
To that nigga and that nigga alone. No one feels his pleasure but him.
They sell instruments called urethral sounds. They're like long things that you could put in there. They say it feels good. It's a whole thing. Like it's a whole.
No means no.
Ha! She proved you wrong. Ha!
It is called a urethral sound. It's very wild. Some of them have ridges on it. Some of them have spirals. Like it's a lot, and they're huge.
Rich for his pleasure. Okay, so there are men who like stuff stuck in a hole.
I don't know, but you talk to any nurse, that does catheters for a living. I'm swear that her testimony.
You got to be very, very, because it's very thin in there. You could really hurt yourself, but they do have instruments for it. Wow.
That's wild. I'll stick to my vagina. I could stick a finger in there, a vibrator in there. You know what I mean? It's just it's like a top hat that you pull a rabbit out of. You can do a lot of things with a vagina.
Hey, like I said, earthworm can go up to 4 feet. That's a pretty big size dildo for earthworm.
Yeah, well, ain't no earthworms going in my vagina. That's for goddamn sure.
Get earthworm Jim up in there.
I didn't think about that. Y'all, oh my God. Ew.
Sit in a bowl of water. It like it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But apparently, y'all like to play dangerous games with your dicks. So
it is.
I'll leave y'all to there. It's a lot going on. It's too much. So sex was made for procreation. Really. That's really what it was made out of. You know, you get a little pleasure from it, but that's all it was really made for, was for us to procreate and the human race to survive. And when I look at what it has become,
you took it, ran. We've been left with it real quick.
I know that if you believe in God, you know, that he is like, what the fuck? Like, can you just imagine, like, is this nigga putting cockroaches on his dick?
By any means necessary at this point, let this man come.
Sodom and Gomorrah, okay? Like, God is up there, like, burn it all with fire. Like, when the end, that if you believe in God and you believe in the end to all of this shit, or you can't even fight with him. You can't argue with nothing. Look, he jumped right on. This is random, but Siren, I didn't know HNIC had a step team.
Fertilize. What you know about that?
Yes. Yes, we do. I get the skin, all that good stuff out here. Mm-hmm. I like my eggs fertilized, but then I don't want to go through with it. So that would be the answer to that question. Yeah. Just know that when the end of days come, don't argue with the Lord and Savior, because we deserve it. We deserve it.
They deserve it.
We got our own kinks that he probably is looking at, you know, while you having your orgies or whatever the case may be. That he's just like,
hey, I love my orgies.
And then he looking at Tokyo and he's disappointed. He's like, I made sex for you to procreate, and you sitting up here, you won't let the nigga.
I gave you a whole husband and everything, and all you had to do was let him come.
And so now you got to go to hell because you won't do what you're supposed to do.
I know I'm going to hell, and I got a cushion. I'll be sitting right in that hellfire, like, well, shit, see more fun there any goddamn way.
Child, I don't want to be hot. That's my problem. My whole thing is like, listen, I got a portable air conditioner in my luggage. You know what I'm saying? Like, to help me smuggle this shit in.
Gotta give the people what they want.
Look, Ty, let him come. Let him come. Let him once. It's your time.
I don't even know why this is like the 8th week in a row. I don't know.
At this point, it's a protest on Tokyo, and
you don't miss it. You don't miss how it feels.
No.
You never liked the power wash, that feeling of it filling you up.
Power wash on your wall.
It's a warm sensation. You don't like no.
Look at her face in disgust. I'd rather fuck a cockroach than let that man come.
She looks disgusted. Like I said, put the cockroach in her butt. Like, that's what she looks like. Like, what? I'm confused. That's what I call it.
It's a type of loop, though.
Listen, you're a man. You don't know what it feels like when you don't know what it feels like when a man ejaculates in you. Like, if it's a lot, like he ain't come for a while, like you can feel it shoot up in you, and it's warm and it spreads out, and then you can feel it run back down. It feels great.
This is a girl with the brooder kink right here.
I don't know that I necessarily have a breeding kink. I just like cream pies.
I mean, tomato.
I don't want to get pregnant. I just want the cream pie.
Well, neither do the people that want to get bred. That's the whole point. Was just come in me because I want to have the feeling of being breaded, but not really.
True. Yeah, that's true though.
Some of them people do like playing with the idea of getting pregnant.
They think it's like gambling. It's like gambling. They usually be on birth control. He's vomiting from his home. I feel like he is.
Not Jesus is vomiting. Is it like that?
Buttercup, baby.
Call me Twinkie. You can call me Twinkie. Oh my God. All right.
Blood lovers unite.
Oh my God. Nothing wrong with a cream pie. I'm a little surprised with you, Tokyo. I'm a little surprised and dare I say a little bit disappointed.
Well,
I'm disappointed as y'all on this show and y'all don't drink nearly as much as I drink.
I'm an alcoholic. I don't know what you're talking about.
So am I.
The show keeps me sober, actually. So my name is Siren.
This show makes me want to drink more.
I drink after the show. That's usually what happens. I do the show, and then after the show, I treat myself to a little drink and a little meal, pinky up, all that good stuff. That's typically, and I don't hit to work tomorrow, so I'm really going to be able to enjoy it.
Turn up.
Wait, do I have something to drink? I don't think I have anything to drink. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I don't have any wine. I don't have any wine, but I do have something to drink. So, yeah, that's typically what I do. Because I'll try to keep my wits together so I can run the show. Because when I'm distracted, it's chaos. It's already chaos, but it's even more chaos when I'm distracted. And I'm supposed to be reading my notes and all that bullshit like that there. Making sure things go well.
Right.
Anyway, y'all came in at the tail end of the show, and I'm sorry. I wish y'all would have been here earlier, but please, 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 if it's your first time here, make sure that you go and watch the replay. Give us our views, please.
Yes.
We are struggling creatives, informing you guys on
Tell them where we at.
And I am informing you guys on all things debaucherous. So in addition to the web show, we actually have a podcast, and you can find us on Anchor and Spotify. So if you want to listen and have a little laugh during your day, pop in your earbuds. Please make sure that they stay connected at all times, because we don't want you to be called into HR. And we don't want your coworkers to be looking at you strange, because now they think that you like bugs crawling on your dick.
And you let him come. Like, what is that about?
What is that about? You need to go watch the replays to find out. This was like a few episodes ago, and you can find out where hashtag let him come originated and why we will never let Tokyo live this down. You also can find out why I like impact play and why Carty over here likes, old women with no dentures to suck his dick. There's a lot of things that you.
That was not. Is that what you grabbed out of that? That is not true. It was one time.
And if you don't know, whenever we do this, that means allegedly.
Yes. I can clear that right now. It's not true.
You can always find us on all Head Nurse in Charge platforms. You can find us on Twitch. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on the Head Nurse in Charge platforms on Facebook. The main page, West, North, South. We everywhere, baby. Worldwide, all right? And we also have an Instagram. So you can find us on the network, Instagram, HNIC Network. And you also can find us at our Instagram page, Unicorn Straight No Chaser. We also have Facebook. We also have our YouTube that we are rebooting and revamping, where you can find our past shenanigans. Listen, when we were really shenanigans, because we used to be drunk as shit. We had to cut out the drinking because we were really, really, really drunk when we were doing our first season.
You gotta bring that back. That was awesome.
No, we was doing like 4-hour shows because we were just talking. We were talking like we was talking to our girlfriends, and that was it. Nobody else was there but us. I mean, we acknowledged that people were there, but it was too much. It was too much. Like you gotta keep a little bit of sobriety, just a little bit, just enough to keep the time shorter. But please go back and watch the replays. Easy access is to go on Twitch or to go on YouTube, especially to find season 1 of Unicorn Straight No Chaser. Season 2 has started off with a bang, and we have had 9 strong episodes of shenanigans and debauchery. So I hope that if you came here for the first time, that you will return again. You can find us every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? Also, I am the assistant con director for the HNIC con. No.
Oh.
Assistant con director for HNIC con.
Where's that?
So please go to www.headnerdsincharge.com and get your tickets for HNIC Con. Our theme is going to be Carnival, and you don't want to miss that. If you've never been to Caribbean Carnival, this is your chance to experience a snippet of it, and it's really going to be a great time. So please go check that out. Also, I am one of the managing directors for the Cage Awards, which is a virtual award show for the culture, by the culture, where we honor POC creatives in all areas, cosplaying, gaming, all of digital content creators, all of those things. So you definitely want to follow us on Instagram, and we have a website, www.cageawards.com, so you can stay up to date on there. We're going to have a red carpet. It's going to be a whole thing like the Oscars for nerds. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you are there for that. Additionally, when you go to the headnerdsincharge.com website, we have a plethora of merch. Unicorn Straight No Chaser merch will be coming soon. So please keep your eyes out for that. I have some things in mind for you guys when you come and join us, like our little silk robes and stuff like that. Yeah, we're developing those things. And so I want you to keep an eye out for that. But also support Head Nerds in Charge. Buy their merch. They have quality clothing there. And we have a partnership with Champion. I have some of the items myself, and it's very well made. So I urge you to definitely check that out. We have a Patreon.
Oh, get you some.
That's right. We have a Patreon. And there is a unicorns tier, and we will be bringing more and more content to the Patreon that we cannot show you here because we will get shut the fuck down. Has it happened before? Yes, it has. We don't want it to happen again. So please check that out as well. The Head Nerds in Charge Patreon, where you can find the unicorns running wild. Okay? Until next time, don't be fucking the ants. That's all I got to say.
I concur.
I just want one episode where I'm not ending it like that.
Soon enough. We'll get it. Not everybody.
Thanks for joining us, y'all.